everybody, welcome back. My name is Dawn. I garden in Zone 8B, and today I have a special treat, and it will be me sitting here and relaxing with a cup of coffee in hand because I'm going to be sharing 4 amazing North Texas gardens with you today. And I love all of these gardens. I follow all of them on social media, and they each have something so unique to offer. And I'm so honored that they are sharing their gardens with us today. So I will be sharing their social media, and I'll put the links below as well if you want to check out their pages and make sure to connect. Our first gardener is Kathryn, and she goes by Bag of Bees on Instagram and Pocket Mole on TikTok. She gardens on 1/3 of an acre, and she's a self-taught gardener. She's learned from YouTube and British garden shows, which I thought was really cute. She loves the positive effects that gardening has on her mental health, and it keeps her going in her garden. If she had to pick one plant that she was most successful with, she said that would be her Salvia gregii or gregii. A lot of people say it differently. So what I love about Kathryn's garden is her native landscapings offer so much texture and contrast, and she's passionate about bringing wildlife to her garden, and I love how she's always posting about it. So she has a couple of video bird feeders that she'll post the birds that come and visit her yard, and there's just a lot of interesting things that she shares. Kathryn has memories of gardening with her dad, and he sounds like he grew massive tomato plants. So that is where her inspiration comes from. One of her big challenges, which is no surprise, is our crazy weather. And she talks about the hot nights, having no precipitation. When we do get precipitation, it's violent thunderstorms, and we all know about that, the hail we have to deal with. Her biggest lesson is to lean into the tough as nails plants that work for the conditions and then pick a few fussy things to baby. And I love that motto. That's great advice for working in the conditions we have here in North Texas. So wait until you see her paradise. I'll stop talking. Let's get started. Here is Kathryn's garden.
Hello. So my name is Kathryn, and this is my garden here in North Texas. I'm really flattered that Dawn wanted to feature me on her channel. I am just north of Dallas, and I suppose you could say that my approach is blending a mix of native plants. Like you can see here, I've got a desert willow tree and Gara. I have Salvia gregii, and also lots of just well-adapted plants like this Helen von Stein lamb's ear. I've got daylilies back here, lantana, all sorts of beautiful things that do well in the heat, can handle drought, and provide lots of interesting habitat for wildlife, which is kind of a passion of mine. The daylilies have just started to bloom. This down here is one of my favorite Texas natives. This is the Blackfoot daisy. Still have snapdragons. We have yarrow. My butterfly bush is going to be blooming soon, as well as my penstemon, and soon my espresso gladiolas. Even though this week we have a day coming up where it's going to be over 100 degrees, it hasn't been hot enough yet for my lobelia to fade away, so I still have a few spring annuals going strong, including, if I step back here, still have bluebonnets. So that's really fun. We go up this way, check everything out from the other side. We've got some crenum lilies that are about to bloom. I still have some anemones. Got some nice light coming in the evening here. Back up and show you the whole thing. This garden is about 3 years old now, going into its 4th year, I would say. In 2020, all of this was St. Augustine grass. And if we go over to this side, this is my shade bed. Not much going on here yet. Soon, this whole area is going to be full of caladiums. We have a bit of Texas gold columbine. It's still blooming. Some grasses, more lambs here, and a rose of Sharon. But I don't want to make this video too long, and so I'm going to also hop in my backyard, which feels a little bit different from my front yard. Hop. So this is my backyard, which I don't know, I would say it's more formal than my front yard, but maybe it's a little less wild because I do still have some lawn back here. Although later this year, I am going to be taking the space underneath this oak tree and converting it all into garden. You can see here, I'm actually a really big fan of container gardening. This is a fountain that I made out of 2 old flower pots. And you can see I've just got a whole bunch of containers. I change it up depending on the season. You know, we've got daylilies and coleus and dahlias and ageratum, some carrots. I've got some citrus here. Back there, I've got an olive tree with olives on it. This is the shaded side of my container garden. I've got some heuchera and oxalis and hostas and lamium. I've got a couple of maple trees that will eventually make their way over into that bed. This is the waiting area for many plants that I have not put in the ground yet. I'm sure every gardener has a spot like that. Same here. And if we look this way, I'll show you a before picture of how this little side yard looked. When I first moved in, this was all mud and mint, and we paved this out and put some flower beds in. And I'll show you an after picture of how this looks in peak summer, because that's when this area really starts to shine. So that's pretty much it for my little garden tour between my front yard and my backyard. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to watching Dawn's video to see the other beautiful gardens that are going to be featured.
All right. So our next garden belongs to Shannon. She is a self-taught gardener with a YouTube channel called Grow Roots. And I love how Shannon is so efficient and packs such a great punch on her lot. She lives on about 6,000 square foot lot and has what she refers to pretty often as little microclimates throughout her garden. And she can grow such a wide variety of flowers and plants and has the most beautiful green belt behind her garden, which you will see in the video. And that's such a rare gem here in our area. She's always loved flowers, but her love of gardening really started during COVID. If she had to pick one plant that has been most easiest and successful for her, it is Sunshine Ligustrum. And I would totally agree with that. But her favorite plant are the big leaf hydrangeas. And if you haven't seen her big leaf hydrangeas, you're about to, and they're amazing. A biggest challenge is keeping the plants alive during our summer heat. That seems to be across the board, especially in the months when the night temperatures don't cool down. And I would definitely agree with her, and I'm sure everyone else here would agree. It's the most challenging thing about gardening in DFW. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Shannon's amazing garden.
And hi everyone, my name is Shannon from Grow Roots. I live in a suburb north of Dallas, Texas. We are on the border of Zone 8A and 8B. I have a modest home here, which is one of the reasons that I created my YouTube channel, Grow Roots, because I got a little overwhelmed when I was watching all of those great gardening channels on YouTube, because I felt like I could never obtain the amount of space that they have for their gardens or the finances that they have to just buy whatever plants they want. So I feel as if the viewers who watch my channel really relate to my gardens, because this is something that's much more obtainable for everyone. So here is my front garden. I have a garden that many people in North Texas might have. It's your typical, like, suburban home front garden. But in this small space, I have tried to pack in just about every color imaginable and everything that I could. For the most part, it is a full sun garden. My garden faces south, and this part of the garden is all full sun. However, I do have a vitex tree right here. And so it has created this climate right here. I get to grow some shade plants that I've always wanted to grow here, one of which is in full glory right now. This is the Endless Summer Hydrangea. I have some ground cover here that is looking spectacular, some variegated Vinca Major, some Burgundy Glow Ajuga. I have magma coral bells, a couple of different ones. I have some Dusty Miller, some garden art. That's Lambo, our garden sheep. Some shade annuals like little begonias, azuratums. I have another hydrangea that is actually in a pot. I'm not sure if it's going to go there yet, so it's staying in its pot right now. But that is the shade area of my front garden. And then everything else, which is full sun, the front of my front garden is always planted with annuals. And this year I opted for 3 different varieties of dwarf zinnias. They are so colorful and so beautiful right now. And then right behind them, I have some perennials. So I have some dianthus. They are coming out of bloom right here in May. But I have some beautiful daylilies. The balloon flower is down here, and it is getting buds on it, as well as this rudbeckia that's planted in behind it. I have some lemon ball sedum underneath a beautiful bird bath. And then over here I have some May night salvia, again coming out of bloom, but then right next to it are some daylilies that are in bloom, some sweet William, which I love, and then some more rudbeckia that are planted behind it, but again kind of coming in to that area and about to bloom anytime now. So to try to balance things out from this large vitex tree on this side, I do have in a container, I have a standard or tree-formed limelight hydrangea. And so it is coming and leafing out. It's doing beautiful. And it looks like we may have our first bud in mid-May. So that's exciting. It's starting to form those buds now instead of just producing leaves. And then underplanted in there, I have some cascading Cora Vinca in several different colors. I have dichondra and then a blue scavola under that. And I think that's going to fill in beautifully and really look great there. I have May night salvia, more of that May night salvia under it. And right up here, coming up to my walkway, I have this welcome sign with, oh my goodness, my favorite verbena of all time, Superbena sparkling amethyst. This overwintered for me, which I'm finding amazing. And then I have some petunias planted down there with them. Let's see, I forgot a couple of things, but there's a hedge of sunshine ligustrum and then more rudbeckia. I do have some gomphrena and some salvia hot lips back there, as well as a queenie lime zinnia that is not blooming quite yet. I have Cosmos apricota over there. I have another daylily. That one is red, but it blooms later in the summer. Another Queenie Lime Zinnia, more Gomphrena, another Rudbeckia, and a Cosmos Apricota with some Dusty Miller back there. So that Sunshine Ligustrum hedge, by the way, is absolutely spectacular, evergreen for me, just the most amazing shrub. So I love, love, love that. I definitely try to increase my gardening space with a lot of containers. And so I do a lot of container garden tours because I think between my front garden and my back garden, I have a total of 30 plus containers that these are things that I don't have room for, but I really want to plant. So here's a few of them. And this is Summer Pastels Yarrow, grown from seed. Many of these are grown from seed. This is Azuratum Leda, grown from seed as well. We've got some Creeping Jenny in there. This container is petunias, beautiful petunias I got from Callaway's, some lobelia, more creeping Jenny. And then this one is Gaillardia. I grew this from seed just a few months ago. This is my first bloom, and it is just all budded up, ready to go. Over here, I have a container that has a 3-ball topiary, which is a Carolina sapphire cypress, and then it's underplanted with variegated liriope, some more of those dwarf zinnias, ageratum, Chippendale daisy zinnias, which are super interesting, and I have a star jasmine vine that's back there, along with a whole hedge of winter gem boxwoods. And then coming on to my porch, I have some Gerbera daisies, an azalea, and then these are kind of my prize babies. This hydrangea that you see here is a 14-year-old endless summer hydrangea, and it is full of blooms. There's about 60 blooms on this plant right now. It is one plant. Some of them are blue, some of them are purple, which I love. Right next to it is a variegated lace cap hydrangea, and this is my 5th year with it, and it's actually flowering for the first time. Yes, it took that long for it to form those lace cap hydrangea blooms, but it's absolutely gorgeous. I love, love, love it so much. And then right here by my door, I also have some more containers of begonias and shade things. So I love that. So here is a look at my backyard. We actually back up to a creek area, and so we have this amazing borrowed view. And then these are my backyard gardens. So coming up to this one, this is my only full sun garden bed that I have in my backyard. So I have tried to fill it with my favorite perennials. There are some annuals in here, but it has very much a cottage garden feel. I have some spireas, some dwarf Mexican petunias that will bloom pink. I have some sweet William, some larkspur that is just coming into bloom. I have some Lissum Rosie O'Day that's looking so, so cute. I have echinacea, different types of echinacea dotted all throughout here. And then the centerpiece here is this limelight hydrangea. I am training it into a standard this year. And then again, just like the front, it is underplanted with the same things, some vinca, some dichondra, and some scaevola. And then you're going to see a ground cover all throughout this bed, and it is plumbago serrata stigma. They are this bright blue blooms, and it's just an amazing hardy ground cover for our area in Zone 8. I have some blue bonnets that are just coming out of bloom. As you can see, this type of echinacea is about to bloom right there, almost ready. Some dianthus are dotted all throughout, as well as this very large Sweet William plant. That's the last bloom left on that one. I have some Queenie Lime zinnias in there. Goodness, I have hollyhock first year here and then a little bit under here, but this Echinacea purpurea is taking it over, as you can see. I have a peony down there that is in its 3rd year. It just has not bloomed. It was from bare root. There's my backyard garden cat, Chloe. She's begging for some attention. And then I have containers all around. So some Chippendale daisy zinnias with some variegated celosia, summer pastels yarrow, my herb container that has mint, lemon thyme, and oregano. I have QIS fiery sunrise gomphrena. I have my prized desert rose, which it's kind of been cold and rainy, but she is just coming into bloom. I've got some Mr. Goodbud sedum here, and this large planter with some cupcakes mix zinnias, some Gomphrena globosa, some Verbena bonariensis, which is about to bloom somewhat soon, and some bunny tail grass, which is so, so soft. I love this container. I think it's going to be amazing as we get into summer. I have some strawberries here with balloon flower in the center. And then I have Blue Days of Volvulus. I have a summer carnival hibiscus, which has some beautiful variegated leaves, and it's underplanted with blue bonnets. I have a crepe myrtle, And then some Cosmos apricota with some gomphrena, looking amazing. I have some more Sweet William growing for next year's blooms. I have some Mammoth Dill, some Rudbeckia planted with Azuratum Lita and Billy Buttons, but the Billy Buttons are getting swallowed. I'm going to come back here and show you what's in this part of the garden real quick. Some Star Jasmine that is coming into bloom. It's absolutely gorgeous and smells amazing. I have 3 different types of clematis growing there. Some rosemary, Texas sage, sunshine ligustrum, Chinese forget-me-nots down there. The sunshine ligustrum is formed into a tree form because it is about 9 feet tall at this time. And then it is underplanted with some burgundy glow ajuga. And then here I have another limelight hydrangea. That one I propagated. I have some coleus growing there, some rainbow coleus. More Chinese forget-me-nots, Echinacea purpurea, another Texas sage. You can see over there I've got some milkweed that's blooming with some Chinese forget-me-nots. I have some Tithonia or Mexican sunflower planted here. I have some daylilies. This is coral honeysuckle that's growing all in that corner, which is incredible. Let me show you that picture. Oh, I love that picture. I have this little Ferris wheel that has hens and chicks planted in it. Some Mexican sunflower, Tithonia, with a real sunflower. And then these guys are my favorite perennial vine. This perennial vine is Tangerine Beauty Crossvine. This one is in a container. This is Amaranthus Love Lies Bleeding. So gorgeous. I planted this just maybe 80 days ago, and it's just in full bloom. So beautiful. I have some, this is my limelight propagation station. I have a little lime here. And then over here is my part shade garden. I have 6 endless summer hydrangeas over there. I have an oak leaf hydrangea back there. I'll show that to you in just a moment. But I've got some Greg's mist flower here, a peony, Rudbeckia, canna lilies, boxwood, alyssum. Let's see, a volunteer sunflower, some more daylilies, and an amaryllis back there. I have Purple Heart, Chinese forget-me-nots. This is Rose of Sharon growing with Rudbeckia, variegated Vinca major, some begonias. Those are the endless summer hydrangeas I told you about. And then in between each endless summer is coral bells. So this one is Magma. I have them in rainbow colors. This one is Electric Lime. And they have begonias in between, which is so cool. This one is Caramel. This one is Onyx. And then this one is Georgia Peach. I love that hedge. Absolutely beautiful when you look at that. And then coming over here, this is part shade again. So I've got some Rudbeckia, some pink Turk's cap, more daylilies, and then this oak leaf hydrangea. So beautiful. This panicle is like as long as my forearm. It's so big. This is a dwarf Alice in Wonderland oak leaf hydrangea. So it's just absolutely beautiful. So happy. I have more Chinese forget-me-nots. And then that's the end of this bed. On this side of the house is almost entirely full shade, and so I have my shade garden that is fairly new. I have an autumn fern. I have Proven Winners Shadowland Diamond Lake. This one is Proven Winners Shadowland Woo La La. This one is an Ellerbroa Hosta, and this one is Elegans Blue Hosta. And then I've got a Brunera, and then this is some Liriope. This is Giant Leopard Plant, Spotted Leopard Plant, another hydrangea. I'm testing it to see what it does in full shade. And again, I told you I had an autumn fern there. So there's a little snapshot of my gardens here in North Texas. And I hope all of you enjoyed this and got some inspiration as some things that you could do in your gardens at home. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, wasn't that a fun one? Our third garden today belongs to Cindy Bolts. She is a master gardener, a Dallas master gardener. She lives on 1/3 of an acre in North Texas suburb. And her Instagram handle is Japanese Maples in the Shade. And if you see her yard, you will know why. She does have memories of gardening with her grandparents in Oregon. She was about 12 years old, and that really piqued her interest when she went to visit. She said everything was so green and the ferns were just wild. And that was enough to get her hooked on gardening for life. And I totally get that because Oregon is such a beautiful place, very different from Dallas, Fort Worth. But her easiest and most successful plants are her Japanese maples. But she does give nodes to hollies and hellebores. Her biggest challenge is, no surprise here, the heat of the deep summer. She did state that the deep freezes that we have started getting are also being very challenging to her landscape. But I could hang out in her garden all day long. She'll discuss the temperature difference due to all of the shade. I love the peaceful tones and the sounds from all of her water features. It's really such a serene garden, and you are about to feel it. Enjoy.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Bowles, and I'm a Dallas County Master Gardener. I want to take you on a little tour of my back garden right quick before the rain. And by the way, this is all shade gardening that I'm about to show you. And so if you're not interested in shade gardening, you may not want to waste your time. Those are pecan trees. There are 4 of them back here, gigantic, and they afford a fabulous canopy of shade in the summertime, which keeps me 15, 16 degrees cooler than DFW. So I appreciate the shade. Oh, I'll show you these container plants. I always have a container, these same containers here, year in and year out, and I just change what I put in them. And this year I chose to put all silver gray plants, Dusty Miller, and the Silver Falls dichondra is the spiller. I generally have way too many patio pots and containers, usually about 30 every year. These are little boxwood topiary, just boxwoods I trimmed up the trunks on. I have azalea collections and Japanese maple collections. Those are my 2 particular favorites. This is the first Japanese maple I ever bought. That's called Garnet. And this is not, I don't think it's supposed to be a sun plant. I mean, a shade plant. It's green-bound juniper. But that's been right there for 20 some years. And I just love it. I wish I had done all the bed around the patio in that. This is Ebingi Eleagnus. And these are oak leaf hydrangeas. I see a little lizard. My yard is full of those little green, can't remember what they're called. I call them lizards. This center island, which has grown and grown and grown, is a result of us being taught in Master Gardener class that to reduce the lawn space, the size of your lawn, you can put down cardboard and cover it up with mulch, and then after 6 months you can plant in it. And so after 6 days, I dug a hole right through the middle of my cardboard and planted that bloodgood Japanese maple, which has grown. I went to school in 2013, so I probably did that in 2014. I didn't really concentrate on this fountain back here, but I wanted to show you this because I'm going to be showing you 3 of them. I just buy basins and plug the hole and put a bamboo fountain in them. Giant liriope. Lots of Japanese lanterns. I have 4 big ones and 2 tiny ones in this backyard. A bench I built. Second fountain. Now, you may be able to tell without any struggle whatsoever that I do a lot of my own flagstone work. It's kind of homely always, but I like to do stuff myself. And so I would go to the rock yard and buy the flagstone, put it down. So I always say stomp up and down on it. That's a gumpo pink azalea next to a Belia. This is a lemon lime abelia and a confetti abelia, and they have taken on each other's personality. I don't know which one's which. You can't tell them apart. I mean, they're identical. Black and blue salvia. Japanese maple back there. This is a licorice plant down here with my blue, in keeping with my blue-gray. This is lamb's ear, of course. Whorlberry. Tiny Japanese maple called Kuro Hime. I have half a dozen of them that are under 18 inches tall. And I have these Burford hollies, but I like to tree up everything, limb it up, tree it up, and that makes for nice winter interest. I have lots of green stuff. Those are, I think, all three dwarf yaupons. And so all of that keeps the garden looking interesting in the wintertime, plus the things I pile in here. Japanese maples. Azaleas, these are Encore Carnation. I tried to get some to match my 15, 20-year-old ones that are Encore Sangria, but I couldn't find them. So those are Encore Carnation. Lots of ajuga. Feathered Friends ajuga is the bright yellow one you're going to see several times. Guacamole hosta, Ligularia, little leopard plant that's very slow getting started. That's some of the structure I have back here. Those three gravestone-looking things are just great big stones that weigh over 50 pounds a piece, and I move them about once a year from this place to that place. This is another, well, I didn't show you the first Persicaria. This is Persicaria Dragon's Tongue. This is Persicaria Painter's Palette. And this, believe it or not, is a hosta called Curly Fries. We're back in the corner now, getting ready to enter the woodland path, what I call the woodland path. But I want to show you this stacked concrete paver plant stand that I saw Pam Pinnock post on her blog site and asked her permission to copy it. I love it. I get lots of compliments on it. That's a Japanese maple in a basin on top of it. Seating. I feel like a garden should have lots of seating, and I can seat 14 or 20 out here with no problem whatsoever. Okay, we're going to go down this path that I created because as I kept making my perennial beds deeper and deeper and deeper because the grass won't grow, I thought that I had a border collie named Lizzie who would run up and down this back path, and I thought, well, let's make it deliberate. And so I graveled it and put plants on either side of the gravel path. That stone in Japan means do not go beyond this point. My garden, it means there's nothing to see here, folks. Another Japanese lantern. Lots of hellebores. This one is called Frosted something. I just love the leaves on that one. And I didn't say, I said I don't have much color in the yard, but I have 50 red begonias back here because I planted them in the front and then couldn't stand the red of them against my brick, and so I moved them all to the back and put in some pink ones. And that's a Texas Gold Columbine. Most of you will recognize that plant. It's a wonderful plant. Hellebores. Some purple oxalis will show up here, there, and yon every year. I never know where all I'm going to have it. Just a little bird bath. I want to show you this more hellebores. Confederate jasmine that I can never get to grow. The winter always takes it out. Why I keep trying. I wanted to show you this smoke tree, though, if we could see the pink. Yeah, it's not particularly good in this light, but sitting in the house, I can look out at those pink puffs. So pretty. More Lenten roses. This is a leatherleaf mahonia, which has been wonderful right there for 24 years. And another heuchera. Love heuchera. But they get pretty raggedy late in the summer. They don't like the heat. And the path goes on down that way, but there's not that much more. One of my little homemade benches. This area, though, is kind of pretty. I like this. Man, can't think of the name of it right. Curry plant. Curry. And I love my variegated Solomon seal. A woman in Oklahoma gave me a start of that probably 18 years ago. And this is the best I've done with it. I mean, it is not fast moving at all, but it sure is worth having. Some beautiful heucheras over here. The one in the middle is amethyst mist, and the ones on the side are called grand mist. Daylily that's been blooming a little one lily at a time. Some more Japanese maples. This is the sickly chocolate chip ajuga. You see the bare spots. This is a potted Japanese maple. This 20-year-old tree that I have to repot every few years. These are my famous azaleas that just bloom and bloom and bloom probably 8 months out of the year. I enjoy them so much. This is a gigantic Viridis Japanese maple. Gigantic, 5.5 feet tall and 8 feet wide at least. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, another seating area, a wall that I built myself, cut every one of those black sticks and painted them and put them up there to give it an Asian look out here. Glass fountain with formed copper tubing that I just swirled into curls, and so the water could come through a little hump on the end of it. I'm going to swing around and show you the backyard from this view. And I thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.
Did you feel the sereneness? I told you how peaceful it was. So I love all that shade and very envious of it. Last but not least is Kevy. And Kevy goes by Garden of Shrubs on Instagram. Kevy gardens on an acre of property in North Texas. She moved here from the Midwest and she learned how to garden here so quickly compared to the 30 years that I have been gardening here. She's pretty amazing. But I love how she plants in masses and does such a great job on her Instagram profile with befores and afters of her plants and her landscaping projects. Kevy became a gardener when she quit her job as an accountant and became a stay-at-home mom. She went to a nursery, bought a shrub, and the rest was history. She was hooked. So she is also self-taught. She learned by watching YouTube videos, and she's so thankful that she discovered her passion for gardening. If she had to pick one plant, she loves salvia because you can plant it and forget about it. If you can't water it, fertilize it, it's going to do great in the heat no matter what. Her biggest challenge is really realizing that all of the plants she grew in the Midwest will not grow here for so many reasons. The sun, the heat, no rain, the alkalinity in the soil. But her yard here in DFW is in full sun. And so she had to say goodbye to her favorite plants, which were panicles, spirea, nine barks. But she's found new loves. Zexmania, Texas sage, and all of the muley grasses are her now new favorites. So you guys are about to be swept away by her yard. And I'm so grateful for her and all three of the other gardeners for taking us on these tours today. Enjoy Kevy's yard. Here we go.
All right, guys, it is May 21st, and I'm going to share with you part of my backyard here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Zone 8B, North Texas. So this view you're looking at used to be grass. When I moved here, this pool was not here, that structure was not here, none of these plants were here. So most of the plants I planted myself. I did not plant the super big things, but everything else I planted. And so what you're seeing are things that have only been in the ground for 2 years or less. Some things I planted just this past fall, new perennials, planted a few this past spring, and then I do have annuals mixed in. So let me get started here and share with you. I love this verbena. This is meteor shower verbena. It acts as a perennial here in Zone 8B. I have a grouping of daylily about to open, purple coneflower. I have some white salvias, different types of liatris, a Blue Fortune agastache. This here is a Northwind switchgrass. I have a grouping of 3 Mexican hats. I planted them last fall, so they're just now starting to open. And then as they do, they seem to be weighing the plant down a little bit. So I actually have them tied up. And I need to redo the twine just because it was a bit windy the last couple days. But I kind of like them tied up. When the twine was a bit tighter, it gave them a kind of a vase shape. Here I have a rock rose. This will get much bigger and fill in this gap as we get into summer. Meeting the rosemary here. This is Chef's Choice rosemary from Southern Living. It is edible. It is delicious. I do highly recommend this variety. And then I have some ground cover that are herbs. So I have Greek oregano and some sage. And then behind this kaleidoscope lobelia, I have some chives. Here I have Vermillionaire Kufia. The hummingbirds love that plant, and it does act as a perennial for me here in 8B. Some butterfly weed, another grouping of daylily. All the daylily groupings I have are different colors. So this is a deep red. I have bright orange over there, and then I have daylilies in other beds as well. And then I just want to show my passion flower vine. So this will climb up and cover this trellis and probably cover the different clematises I have over here. But it's a host plant to the Gulf fritillary butterfly. And so as we get into midsummer, it's going to be covered in different caterpillars. And they will eat the leaves, and it will actually, it'll bloom. But, you know, the leaves aren't going to look their best. But just being able to see those caterpillars up close and all the butterflies around the vine, it's so pretty. Rosy Posy agastache. And then another trellis with just one clematis. I cannot remember the name of this. I have it noted somewhere, but it was so pretty. It stayed in bloom with these lilac colored blooms for like 5 weeks. It was so fun this past spring. This bed has a good example of why you should try to plant your perennials in mass. I don't always follow this example, but I'm so glad I did here. I have 5 to 8 of each of the 3 perennials here. Purple skullcap, Zexmenia, Salvia greggii. I really recommend the Zexmenia if you have a hot and dry garden. The blooms will basically look like this until frost. And I will probably cut it back by 1/3 in June, but you don't have to. So the first year I planted it, I didn't cut it back. The second year I did. It seems to self-clean. It's dead pretty well, where it just pushes new bloom, and the faded blooms just kind of disappear. But it's just so beautiful. It's another Texas native. Kaleidoscope lobelia, fall aster, some pine millie grass. This agastache is so pretty. I don't have the name right now in front of me. I'll have to look it up. I don't think it's a super common one. I got it online. But it blooms until frost. It's about to open up, and it's just this delicate purple pink color. I put another one here in front of the Mexican hat for when the Mexican hats fade, that agastache can take over. And then lastly, this ornamental oregano. It's called Drops of Jupiter. It's this beautiful chartreuse matte. It will push some blooms, I think in June. But this color is so gorgeous. I actually put a second one right by it a few weeks ago. All right, guys, I'm going to share with you this bed over here. I'm not going to really show you the pool bed right now, simply because it's filled with different annuals that want to put on a lot of growth over the next month. And so that bed's going to look really different in 1 month's time. Here I have 3 Yaupon holly tree form. So they will get eventually maybe 15 feet tall. by 9 to 12 feet wide. So as they grow, I'll continue uplimbing them so that the canopy starts higher and higher and kind of arches over this swoop of Mexican feathergrass. Here I have Truffula Pink Gomphrena. This is an annual, and it will completely fill in to a wall of pink blooms. Loves the heat. Canyon Creek Abelia. It's one of my favorite abelias. I like the color of the foliage, but also I found it to be a pretty prolific bloomer. And the bees really seem to like the blooms, as well as swallowtails. I often see swallowtails on these blooms. And so I feel like Canyon Creek blooms a lot more than some of the other abelia varieties. In the middle, this is the lowest part of the yard. It's where the water runs off and runs around the house. So in this low part, I've planted some water-loving plants, including hibiscus, swamp milkweed, as well as a button bush. Miss Molly butterfly bush. Miss Molly seems to bloom pretty early. I have other butterfly bushes that are not even close to blooming yet, while Miss Molly here's been in bloom for like 3 weeks. She's very pretty. I have a grouping of 3 northwind switchgrasses. Here I have an annual that I just discovered last year. It's called Mecrodonia Gold Dust. And I have found it does really well in the ground in our hot Texas summers. So it'll basically look like this until frost. And it doesn't need a lot of water. I think for like 2 weeks last August, it maybe looked a little, not sad, but it didn't have as many blooms on it, but it bounced right back, and it was only about 2 weeks. For the rest of the summer, it looks so good. So I've added a lot of Mecrodonia to my yard this year. Here's the button bush, more perennial hibiscus. I love this grass right here. This is, I always mix up the name. I think it's the Blue Paradise grass from Proven Winners. I could be wrong on the name, but it's definitely the Proven Winners little blue stem grass. I love the bluish, silvery purple foliage color, and this will turn deeper purple in the fall. And little blue stem, it'll get a little bit taller, about 2.5 feet tall once it puts out its bloom stalks. Not too tall. Here's a new Vitex from Proven Winners. Oh, I don't remember the name. It came out last year, and it's supposed to bloom for 6 to 16 weeks longer than traditional Vitex. So traditional Vitex seems to bloom for a month or less from what I've noticed. So this is supposed to push out blooms well beyond that. I cannot wait to see what it does. I planted this from a quart size less than a year ago, about 11 months. So it's put on a lot of growth in 1 year, and I'm sure it's going to grow a lot bigger this year, and I will keep uplimbing it because I want it to be like a multi-trunked little tree. I want to show you one more tree from Proven Winners. It was also introduced last year. This is called El Nino, and it is a cross between a desert willow and a catalpa. I planted this from a gallon size 1 year ago, and this is how big it's gotten in only 1 year. It's insane. So it's past its first flush. It was extremely pretty about 3 weeks ago, and it still is. But these blooms also have a fragrance. It's kind of like a grape scent.
I think there's so much more to see of Kevy's yard, but that's it for now. All right. Thanks again to Kathryn, Shannon, Cindy, and Kevy for sharing their gardens with us today. I know they inspired me, and I am sure they inspired you. Make sure to give them lots of feedback in the comments below. I know they would love to hear from you. It was so nice of them to take time out of their day to make those videos and share them with us. If you garden in North Texas or Texas in general, I hope you found some inspiration and know that we all seem to struggle with the same things. And so there's peace in knowing that if your plant dies, it's probably not you. So sometimes I need to hear that myself. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Let these gardeners know how amazing their gardens were. and feel free to give them all the feedback in the comments. I know they would love to hear from you. That is all. So I hope to see you guys in the next one. You have a great day.